Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren is interviewing for and appears to be one of the finalists for the president and CEO job of the NFL's Chicago Bears. What would his departure to the Windy City mean for the future of the Big Ten Conference? It's a great time to subscribe to the channel. Big Ten content every single day. Always mash that like button to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses. When I first heard the news that Kevin Warren was in deep discussions with the Chicago Bears to succeed Ted Phillips for the president and CEO job of that franchise, at first it kind of took me by surprise, considering all the good things that Kevin Warren has done for the Big Ten in the last year or so and all the work he's done to further our beloved B1G. But when you look at it from a Chicago Bears point of view, it kind of makes sense, right? Kevin Warren was in an executive position with the Minnesota Vikings when they went through their stadium construction project. And, you know, obviously Chicago is going to be building a stadium out in Arlington Heights, out in the Chicago suburbs in Illinois. So it kind of makes sense. He has experience in that kind of thing to lead that kind of project forward. And, of course, what he's done leading the Big Ten Conference the past few years has been very impressive as well. Like, when you look at what Kevin Warren has done in his tenure, look, it was a rocky start. I think we can all recognize that with the COVID thing, right? Hey, you got a new job. You're the Big Ten commissioner. Oh, here's a global pandemic, the likes we haven't seen in about 100 years. Try to put a football on the field and try to make everybody happy. Yeah, it wasn't going to happen. And, you know, I think it's safe to say it did not go well for Kevin Warren. But ever since then, like, you look at the things that Kevin has been able to do, negotiating an unprecedented television deal, expanding the conference into the Los Angeles market with the additions of USC and UCLA. Like, you can tell he's got that professional NFL type of mindset. Like, you look at the TV deal that Kevin was able to negotiate, right? CBS, NBC, Fox, rotating conference championship game. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Sounds a lot like TV games in every single time slot. Sounds a lot like how the NFL does business. That's what Kevin Warren really brought, and, well, I should say is bringing, I shouldn't use it in past tense quite yet, is bringing to the Big Ten right now. It's a professional mindset, and that's the way college athletics is kind of going. He's been at the forefront with NIL issues, with college football playoff expansion as well. Since the COVID debacle, I think he's done a very nice job. He's done a great job at progressing the Big Ten forward into becoming a financial leader and a leader overall in the world of college athletics. But the question needs to be answered. If this is for real, if Kevin Warren has serious aspirations to leave one of the biggest jobs, maybe not only in all of college sports, but one of the biggest administration jobs in all of sports, not just college sports, in all of sports, leaving the commissioner's office in the Big Ten, the question needs to be asked, what kind of guy, what kind of qualities does the Big Ten need to look for into hiring their next Big Ten commissioner? I think the strengths that we touched on with Kevin Warren need to be continued if he ends up taking this job as the president and CEO of the Chicago Bears. You need a guy that's forward thinking. That's how we got to this point. That's how we got one of the richest television deals where all the schools are going to benefit from this type of deal. Like, that's exposure. Like, that is such a huge thing that this television deal offered. The financials are great. $100 million a year is great, but it's the exposure for the athletes on these networks every single week, I think, is a big thing. And then, of course, adding USC and UCLA. Like, he was at the forefront of all of these issues. And it kind of, you could kind of see it benefited a lot of people, seeing a guy that came with outside of the box, really, of college athletics. He came in and he thought differently. I think we need a type of guy like that if Kevin Warren is no longer here in a couple of weeks, say, because this is an extremely important time in the history of college athletics. Okay, we just had the last traditional Rose Bowl, right? We aren't going to have Big Ten, Pac-12 anymore, right? If that's a sign of things, if that tells us anything, it tells us we're going in a completely different direction. So, whoever succeeds Kevin Warren. It could be now, it could be 5 years from now, it could be 10 years from now. But speaking of the here and now, if he takes this job at the Chicago Bears, you need someone who's forward thinking. You need someone who's going to continue to think outside the box and be a leader on all of these issues within college athletics. Now saying that, the list of guys I have in front of me that could possibly be potential replacements are all in college athletics right now because, man, I don't have a ton of knowledge of guys that are in pro sports right now that would be willing, could make the jump to be the Big Ten commissioner. So I just put some lists together. You look at Jim Phillips, former Northwestern athletic director. He's the current commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference. That's a pretty recent position for him. I'm not totally sold on him. I think he's kind of behind in a few areas right now, so I don't think Jim Phillips is great. Gene Smith is kind of the leader in the clubhouse in terms of the athletic directors. He's the current AD at Ohio State. He's kind of the Pied Piper in terms of ADs. He kind of speaks up a lot on a lot of these issues. You look at Barry Alvarez, right? The former Wisconsin AD. He was on the college football playoff committee. He's working as an advisor in the Big Ten office right now. So you could talk to him as well. And what about Jack Swarbrick? Okay, what a coup that would be, getting the Notre Dame athletic director to jump over to be the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference. Some things I've heard Jack say in terms of the future of college athletics, I can tell he is at least a little bit forward thinking. So I think Jack could fit into that role as well. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think Kevin Warren is going to jump ship? Who would you like to see? What kind of qualities would you like to see in a future Big Ten commissioner? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Big Ten Ted. We will see you in the next one.